Greetings, programs. Welcome to Stegosaurus Studios. So, once again, it's been a very long time between episodes. I'll go into some more detail on why that is at the end of this episode. But we'll just say right now, I got a little frustrated, and I kind of stepped back a little bit. So, moving on. As they say in Switzerland, I'm going to put the fish on the table, meaning I'm going to show all my cards. I'm not going to be done for Star Wars Celebration. That ability has passed. So there's too much that has to be done. So I might have dummy at Star Wars Celebration, but if you're aware of the rules we have to, in order to be on display in the room, the droid has to be finished, and he's not going to be finished. So I actually went through this exercise of, I was chopping scope to try to get it down into a manageable thing, and then the things that I wasn't willing to chop out were they were causing problems, and then the frustration set in, and so I've given up. So I'm putting all those things that I chopped out back in to scope. So I'm doing it right the first time, and I had this thought process of, I'll cut things out of scope, and then I'll go back later after Star Wars Celebration and add them back in. And I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to try to put. There's probably things that are going to get added back in later, as I learned more about, driving this guy and puppeteering. But for now, that's it. Anyway, like I said, we will, at the end of this episode, come back to that. So, status update. I know in the last episode I was talking about sound, and I wanted the speeder bike sound. That is one of the things that is giving me headaches, and so I don't have actually any progress to show today on that. What I did talk about in the last episode was the rewiring. So the rewiring is done. I've made all the new cables. I haven't got him out and tested him at an event, but I did testing just on the bench, and I wasn't getting any sort of signal RF interference. So the real test, though, will be when I do a full day event and see whether I have a recurrence. And let's hope that my new shielded cable has solved all that problem. And then not last episode, but 2 episodes ago, which was the Maker Faire, post Maker Faire episode, I talked about wanting to get a bottle and putting an air bottle, a high pressure air bottle, and putting it on the skid, and keeping the springs live through that bottle. I got the it's air tubing. I replaced what I had on there, and that's all done, and that was caused me some headaches as well. But the first time I put it on, I was using ferrules. I don't know what they're called, where you've got you put the little circle thing on, and you stick it in, and you screw it down. And I had leaks, and it was leaking so fast I couldn't even trace where the leaks were coming from, because I had run out of air before I could find where the leak was. So I pulled all that out and actually replaced most of it with push to connect. And then I still had a big leak, or 2 big leaks. But then I figured out what I was doing wrong on that, and I got that fixed. So that is the one thing that I'm going to actually be able to demonstrate today, is the air tubing. So let's go out to the shop number 2, the garage. I'll get set up, and I'll show how that works and talk about it. Then I'll come back out here for the wrap-up comments. All right. We're out here in the garage. Dummy's got his head on again, yay. So there's, to refresh memory, there's 3 air springs. There's one here, there's one here, and then there's one up front for the front wheel. What I've done is I used to just like I said, pump them up with my bike pump, each one individually, and they were kind of a pain to get leveled and all the same. So now there's just a common manifold. So you won't be able to see it, but there's piping that connects. There's a high pressure bottle. It will sit on a cradle right back here. I designed the cradle and then it is hitting the seat. So I need to redesign it. So right now it's just sitting there, but it's not fully installed. Anyway, the bottle will sit right there, right behind the seat, connect to some tubing, which is here, the beginning of it. Connects to this air spring, that air spring, and then runs the length of the frame down to the other end. And I've tested this and it works. And I actually was able with one, this is not like high pressure. This is actually would be called low pressure air, even though it's a high pressure cylinder. It says I'm just filling it off of my DeWalt air compressor. So it's going up to about 150 PSI. And with just one bottle, 150 PSI, I tested it earlier before I recorded the first video. I can get about 4, maybe in one more inflations of the whole system. So it'll inflate just off, 4 times off of this one bottle. So what I'm gonna do is put it on, and I don't know how well this will show up on camera, but let's make sure I have all the valves set correctly. Come on. Okay, there we go. All right, so bottle is here. It's installed, and the regulator is already set to the right pressure. So if I open this up, so the front always goes up first, and then the rear ones are a little bit sticky. But once you kind of give it a little move, now it's fully inflated. And like I said, I can do this 4 times. I can do the deflate. It goes right back down. So that's going to be really useful. I learned the hard way when you transport this in the back of your SUV, it has to be deflated and strapped down, because those air springs, you can see how much bounce they have. So I did the event at the Computer History Museum, and I started driving, and I got out on the interstate, and every bump that I hit, the thing was just crashing up and down. I actually had to pull off the interstate and deflate it. So with this bottle, I can basically, this is on a lift, right? So I can lower it down, inflate it, roll it to the car, get it in the car, deflate it, strap it down, drive it to an event, inflate it, get it out of the car, drive it around the event, take it back into the car, deflate it, strap it down, bring it back home, inflate it one more time, and get it back onto the lift, and do that all with one bottle, which is great. I also, just in case, you may be able to see it right here, but this is a Schrader valve, so I still have the ability with my bike pump to pump this up. So I got to be honest, I didn't do any calculations, which is really sad given that I'm a chemical engineer and that's right up my alley, on how many, because I had no idea what the air volume of these air springs were. That you can't, there's no published anything on how much air is in this thing. So I had no idea when I tested it this morning how well it was going to work, whether it was going to be multiple fillings or not. So I'm actually pretty excited that this worked. And then just for grins, so close that off, and then you got to kind of do this slowly, otherwise it crashes down. But So now it's completely deflated. So, and then I can reinflate it if I want. So it works pretty well. All right, that's it. That's all I got to demo. So back to the shop for the closing remarks. All right, back out here in the shop, and I'm gonna wax philosophical here for a minute. So if you're not into philosophy or whatever you want to call what I'm about to say, you can sign off now. So I want to talk about the frustration that I was experiencing. So, and I'm going to talk about this little thing. So years ago, my wife and I, we were in the San Francisco airport, and we stopped in the gift shop there, and they had these little canvas straps. They have like a little, a little clip that you can clip them on something. So this resides on my backpack, my travel backpack. So anywhere I travel, it goes with me, and hopefully it'll zoom in. It says, "Do more of what makes you happy." And as I was through the most of this year, I was feeling like I was doing actually less and less of what makes me happy. So because there's a lot of things that I like to do. I like to bike ride. I like to cook. I like to read. There's a lot of TV shows that are out that I haven't seen. And I was doing less and less of all those other things because I was working more and more on the Droid. And so yes, so I think this is important. Do more of what makes you happy, but not to the extent that you're not doing all of the things that make you happy. Droid building makes me happy, but so did all these other things. So yeah, I got really frustrated, and like up until I finished this air piping 2 days ago, honestly, I hadn't done anything for weeks on the Droid, and had coffee with Malcolm a couple weeks ago, and he was kind of surprised that I was feeling that way. So but I'm back at it now. I got the air piping done. I've got parts for his arm, so I'm gonna be doing some testing on his left arm finally, and at some point I'll get back to the speeder bike sound, and I'll probably bother Neil to death. He's already helped quite a bit, but yeah, that's it. That's I'll get off the soapbox now. So that's it for this episode. I apologize again for having it be so long between episodes, and apologize that I don't have a lot to show, but I'll get there. So thanks for tuning in. Ciao.